Today we're going to be installing the Griffin Mobile 9-inch in a 2011 Honda Pilot with a sunroof. Here's the rough location where we want to mount the monitor to. This particular vehicle has a sunroof, so we actually need to check the sunroof support bracket to make sure we have a nice place to mount the unit. As you can see where the light is focused, we have a metal bracket that supports the headliner and the sunroof rails. This is exactly where we're going to mount the monitor to. So we want to try and mount the bracket as close to the front as possible within a half an inch of the front edge of the headliner. We basically have 49 inches, where the halfway point is 24.5. We're going to identify that with a piece of tape. The right edge of the tape is our center point. Let's double check our measurement. Great, we have 24.5 on both sides. With this particular monitor, we have a bracket that extends nearly to all edges of the actual monitor itself. Some monitors have a much smaller bracket, and you will need to identify the offset of that bracket to the particular monitor so that you don't cut a hole in the headliner in the wrong position. In this case, because of the thickness of the plastic is only about 1/8 of an inch, we can go nearly all the way forward and we won't have to worry about setting the bracket any further. The Honda Pilot sunroof support is roughly 3.5 to 4 inches wide. Because of this narrow mounting area, we need to undersize the hole in the headliner so that the monitor will clamp in between the headliner and the actual bracket. This way the front side of the monitor won't hang down. We're setting a piece of tape that will basically mimic the back side of the monitor. This is as far forward as we want to mount the bracket. We've got a head and outliner cut out. We'll be cutting along the inside of the tape's border. Just in case, we pull the side measurements in by about 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. That way, the bracket will sandwich in between the actual headliner and the flip down. Here's the sunroof support bracket along with the headliner piece. We're not going to remove any part of the headliner bracket. Now we're going to take a drill and pre-drill the metal bracket. We're going to use screws that are short enough not to exceed the height of the sunroof bracket so that we don't interfere with the sunroof slider. Before we drill, I recommend taking a spare bracket, in this case the actual bracket of the Griffin unit, and put it in between the sunroof slider and the sunroof support. That way, as we're drilling, we don't accidentally drill through the sunroof slider. We've identified our power source as the fuse box underneath the dash, located under the left driver's kick panel. We're going to run our wires underneath the side floor panels and up the center column to the flip down. This flip down requires only power and ground, so we only have to run one wire from this location. Let's remove the seatbelt to gain access to this area where we're going to place the ground wire. We just have to remove this piece, and here we are removing the dome light. It's one of the last wires we need in order to finish the installation of the flip down. I previously identified what wire it is, but in this particular vehicle, the white wire is positive 12 volts at all times, and the blue and black wire is switching ground. We use a voltmeter to identify each wire. This white wire is 12 volts. What happens with a switching ground wire is when the doors close, we lose ground on the blue and black wire. This is called a negative trigger, and that's what we'll be using for this dome light. This monitor actually has a positive dome light trigger as well as a negative dome light trigger. This little switch here changes it between a positive or negative trigger. We're currently set up for negative trigger by having the switch to the left position, which matches the wires we are using. So now all we need to do is run the wire. In this vehicle, we have curtain airbags, so we have to be somewhat careful where we run the wires. We always want to run the wires behind the airbag. That way, in the event that the airbag is deployed, the wires do not snag. So we're going to use a coat hanger to run the wires back behind the airbag and to our opening in the ceiling. Here I've taped the wires to the coat hanger. We're going to carefully pull this through so that we don't snag the coat hanger on anything. We're going to leave ourselves a little bit of slack. Now that we have our wires through, we can untape the hanger. Now what we've done is tuck the wires in through the rail. You basically have a hollow opening, and that's a great place to run wires. We've tucked them under there, and as you can see, we have them nicely tied off. We'll run the wire from here to the dome light using the coat hanger again. Then we'll just run it down the pillar and be good to go. We've attached our new wires in loom tubing to the original wires so that it looks factory. As you can see, we've tapped the factory circuit on the fuse block for power. We put an inline 5 amp fuse to protect the circuit in the event of a short, so we don't risk damaging the vehicle. We've gone ahead and mounted the bracket using a little bit of loom to protect the wires from chafing as the vehicle moves. We've installed our 4 factory screws. We've gone ahead and screwed in the screen using the factory screws. As you can see, we finished up the install, put the vehicle all back together, and we're all done. And we're testing the unit now. As you can see, the unit plays quite well, nicely installed. For more information regarding this install and other installs, please visit our website at www.qualitymobilevideo.com.